Most men think attraction changes when they say the right line. It doesn't. More often, it changes in a moment so small they don't even realize it happened. A hug, a few seconds of contact, one subtle detail in the way you touch her, and suddenly the energy is different. But here's what most men miss: it's not the touch itself that changes attraction, it's what the touch reveals: neediness, hesitation, hunger, control, calm, restraint, presence. In one brief moment, a woman can feel the entire structure of a man before he ever explains himself. And that changes everything. Listen carefully. A hug is never just a hug when attraction is possible. It is a read, a test, a signal exchange beneath language. Weak men think physical contact creates attraction by force. Strong men understand something deeper. Contact does not create what is absent, it exposes what is already there. And if your body communicates insecurity, no technique will save you. If your body communicates grounded certainty, even a simple touch can shift the entire emotional frame. That's the first truth. The move is not magic. The psychology is. A disciplined man does not look at moments like this from the surface. He does not ask, where do I put my hand so she likes me more? That is the question of a blind man, a reactive man, a man looking for shortcuts because he has no command over what he radiates. The stronger question is, what does my touch communicate before words can interfere? That is where awareness begins. And awareness is power, because women read far more than men think. Not just where you place your hand, but how. Not just how, but when. Not just when, but with what internal state behind it. Are you steady or are you reaching? Are you comfortable or are you hunting? Are you present or are you trying to take something? Most men never see this. They think attraction is about action. In reality, it is often about the emotional truth leaking through the action, and this is why the wrong touch kills attraction faster than no touch at all. A nervous man hugs like he's asking for permission with his entire body. He pats too quickly. He squeezes too hard. He lets his hands drift with uncertainty. He lingers without reading the moment. Or worse, he uses the hug like a disguised attempt to escalate where no invitation exists. That kind of touch is loud, even when it looks subtle. It communicates inner disorder. It tells her you are not in command of yourself, and a man who is not in command of himself cannot hold anyone else's trust, desire, or respect. But the deeper truth is this: the touch that changes attraction is not aggressive. It is not theatrical. It is not some cheap trick. It is calm, intentional, and deeply controlled. It says, without words, I am comfortable with myself. I'm not rushing. I'm not pleading. I'm not trying to steal a moment. I can hold closeness without losing center. That is rare, and rare things get felt. So let's get precise. When the moment is appropriate, when she is actually receptive, when there is mutual warmth and comfort already present, the touch that shifts attraction is usually not dramatic at all. It is a clean, grounded embrace with your hand placed with certainty on her upper back or mid back, not fidgeting, not patting like a nervous friend, not wandering, just a firm, relaxed placement that feels settled. If the energy between you is already clearly warm and familiar, a brief touch lower along the side of the waist during the embrace can create a stronger sense of polarity, but only if the context supports it and only if her body language welcomes it. Not because you're trying to take ground, because your touch matches the moment instead of forcing it. That distinction is everything. Most men hear advice like this and immediately think about mechanics. They become clumsy because their mind leaves the moment and enters strategy. But attraction is often damaged the second your body starts asking, is this working? A woman can feel when you are mentally checking yourself while touching her. That inattention travels straight through the embrace. What should have felt grounded suddenly feels calculated. And what is calculated without calibration becomes uncomfortable fast. Now, pay attention. What changes attraction during a hug is rarely location alone. It is placement, pressure, tempo, and release. Your hand should land like it belongs there for that moment, not like it's searching for an opportunity. The pressure should be secure, never crushing, never limp. A weak grip feels uncertain. An overly strong grip feels compensatory. But a firm, calm touch feels safe, masculine, and self possessed. It tells her you can make contact without anxiety. And then there's tempo. Weak men rush contact because they're afraid of the moment, or they drag it out because they're trying to squeeze meaning from it. Both betray need. The stronger man meets the hug cleanly, holds it naturally, and releases without clinging. If she leans in, softens, or lingers, he can stay with it for a beat longer. If she stays light and social, he keeps it light and social. No forcing, no fishing, no covert attempt to turn a polite moment into a private one. This is where weak men fail. They do not understand that attraction is not built by ignoring signals, it is built by reading them accurately and remaining composed inside them. The man who always escalates is just as blind as the man who never does. One is reckless, the other is timid. Both are disconnected from reality. But the man who can feel the difference between friendliness and genuine warmth, between courtesy and invitation, between comfort and tension, that man moves differently. He does not guess, he observes. And observation is where masculine power actually begins. Think about the embrace itself. A hug puts two nervous systems in direct conversation. There is almost no room for verbal performance. No polished line can protect you there. If your body is unstable, she feels it. If your attention is split, she feels it. If you're trying to impress, she feels it. But if you are centered, unhurried, and emotionally clean, she feels that too. And that is what most men underestimate. Women often respond less to the idea of touch than to the quality of nervous system behind it. That's why one man can give an ordinary hug and be forgotten in seconds, while another gives the same hug and leaves a trace in her mind long after he walks away. Not because he did more, because he leaked less. He did not contaminate the moment with insecurity, desperation, or hidden agenda. He let the contact stay simple, clean, certain. That kind of restraint is powerful because so few men have it. Most men either hold back out of fear or push forward out of hunger. Both are forms of weakness. Both reveal a man controlled by the moment instead of in control within it. And women can feel that difference immediately. Here's another layer most men never think about. The hug does not begin when your arms make contact. It begins seconds earlier, in the way you look at her, in whether you move naturally or hesitate, in whether your expression is grounded or performative, in whether your posture is open or collapsed. Attraction shifts before the hug if your presence already carries coherence, and it dies before the hug if your presence already feels scattered. So if you want to understand what touch during a hug actually does, understand this first. Touch amplifies what's already there. If the interaction is playful, warm, and mutually engaged, the right hug can deepen that undercurrent. If the interaction is awkward, one-sided, or uncertain, the same touch can expose the gap brutally. That's why men who search for physical tactics without building emotional and social awareness always look foolish in the end. They want the result without the foundation. But there is no technique strong enough to override misalignment. Now, let's go deeper. The touch that changes attraction is often the touch that carries no panic. When your hand rests on her back and stays still for that brief moment, you communicate something rare in modern men. You're not overdoing, you're not fluttering, you're not tapping like you're afraid of intimacy or squeezing like you need proof. You are simply there, present, stable. That stillness matters more than most men realize. Stillness is a language. A restless man creates restless contact. A grounded man creates grounded contact. And because so many people live in emotional static, groundedness feels intense without needing to become dramatic. That is the quiet power of masculine composure. It changes the emotional tone of the moment without announcing itself. She may not explain it logically. She may not even consciously think about it. But part of her registers, this man is settled. He doesn't collapse in closeness. And that registration can shift attraction far faster than clever words ever will. But here's the catch. If you treat the hug like a move, you ruin the very thing that makes it work. The moment a woman feels that you're trying to manufacture a reaction, the energy changes, not because she hates physicality, because she hates incongruence. A man pretending to be calm while internally chasing validation always leaks that contradiction. It shows up in the extra squeeze, the strange pause, the hand that lingers where it hasn't earned the right to linger, the body that moves half a second too greedily. Small things, but small things are where truth hides. This is why disciplined men win in silence while weak men expose themselves in details. If this already sounds familiar, subscribe, not for noise, not for surface level advice. Subscribe if you value the kind of truth that cuts through illusion and teaches you to see what most men stay blind to. Because once you understand hidden dynamics, you stop fumbling through moments that were never random to begin with. Now, let's talk about the part that actually changes attraction faster than the touch itself, the transition in and out of the hug. This is where most men completely misread the moment. Anyone can make contact. Very few men know how to enter or exit physical contact without breaking the energy. They either dive in awkwardly or pull away like they touched fire. But a man with awareness understands that attraction often lives in transitions. The second before contact, the second after release, the eye contact before the embrace, the pace of separation, the calm afterward. If you hug her with grounded warmth, then release smoothly and meet her with a composed look instead of nervous chatter, the moment breathes, it lands, it gains weight. But if you instantly scramble to fill the silence, crack a weak joke, or act like the hug meant nothing because you're afraid she felt it, you drain the charge immediately. Weak men cannot hold tension, so they kill it. Strong men can let a moment exist without panicking, and that changes everything. Sometimes the hand on her back is not what she remembers most. Sometimes it's the fact that you didn't rush to explain yourself after. You didn't seek reassurance. You didn't act startled by closeness. You carried the same composure before, during, and after. That consistency is deeply attractive because it signals inner stability. You are not changing shape in response to every emotional current. That is masculine frame. Now, let's be brutally honest about what men get wrong when they hear touch her during a hug. They often think more intensity equals more attraction. It doesn't. More intensity without permission equals pressure. More touch without connection equals intrusion. More boldness without awareness equals social stupidity dressed up as confidence. Real confidence is precise. It knows when enough is enough. It knows when to stop. It knows when warmth should stay warmth instead of turning into an attempt to take. And women notice that. A man who can touch with restraint feels safer than a man who touches with ambition. Safer does not mean weak, it means regulated. A lot of men still don't understand this. They think respect kills polarity. No. Timidity kills polarity. Approval seeking kills polarity. Emotional leakage kills polarity. But respectful certainty, that can intensify attraction because it combines strength with control. And control is what separates a dangerous fool from a disciplined man. This is also why context matters. The right touch in the right moment can deepen attraction. The same touch in the wrong context can create resistance instantly. If the relationship is new, keep it clean. Upper back, mid back. Natural pressure, natural release. Let mutuality guide the tone. If there is already deeper comfort, clear flirting, repeated proximity, a stronger emotional undercurrent, then subtle waist contact during the embrace may feel natural and charged. But if you have to wonder whether it's too much, it probably is. That uncertainty is your signal to stay disciplined. Restraint is not lost opportunity, it is intelligent timing. Most men are so afraid of missing their chance that they create the very discomfort that closes the door. They touch as if they're trying to force the next chapter, but attraction grows when a woman feels that your self control is stronger than your impulse, that you can feel desire without becoming sloppy, that you can experience closeness without trying to convert every warm moment into a conquest. That is rare. And rarity creates gravity. There is another truth here darker than it looks. A hug can reveal whether she feels your presence as grounding or draining. If she melts into it, relaxes, or subtly reorients back toward you after the release, the signal is different than if she keeps her frame distant, stays half turned away, or gives a quick tap out hug with no real settling. Most men ignore these things because they want the fantasy more than the truth, but truth is where power lives. If the energy is not there, see it. Don't negotiate with it. Don't invent meaning. Don't chase after what the moment did not give you. A stoic man does not need comforting lies. He can handle reality, and reality is cleaner than delusion. This makes him more attractive in the long run because he does not become warped by every interaction. He does not spiral over mixed signals. He does not build castles out of crumbs. He reads the moment, accepts the verdict, and stays composed. That emotional economy is strength. It keeps his judgment sharp. It keeps his behavior calibrated. And it prevents him from becoming one of those men who mistake physical proximity for genuine desire. Now, pay attention to the deeper pattern. The hug is a microcosm of masculine presence itself. The men who fail there usually fail everywhere else too. They speak too much when silence is stronger. They react too quickly when observation is needed. They overinvest before the signal is earned. They confuse intensity with depth. They think action is power, when in truth, disciplined timing is power. The men who succeed understand something quieter. They know that attraction is not extracted, it is invited, not by begging, not by performing, but by becoming the kind of man whose energy is coherent enough that small moments carry weight. When that happens, even a brief touch can communicate what loud men spend hours trying to prove: strength, calm, certainty, control, and women feel that. The irony is that the touch that instantly changes attraction often feels almost invisible to the outside world. No spectacle, no move that looks impressive on camera, just the subtle difference between a man who is inwardly fragmented and a man who is inwardly aligned. One touches to get something, the other touches in a way that reflects what he already is. One is asking, the other is expressing, one creates pressure, the other creates polarity. That is why this matters, because attraction is often decided in these quiet moments where language cannot save you. In a handshake, in eye contact, in silence, in the way you occupy space, in the way you handle a hug. Human nature reveals itself in patterns, not slogans. And the man who learns to read those patterns becomes far more dangerous than the man who just memorizes tactics. Dangerous in the right way, not chaotic, not invasive, not impulsive, aware. Aware men do not stumble through intimacy. They do not need to dominate every moment to feel masculine. They do not need endless reassurance to feel wanted. They can hold their center in closeness. They can feel energy without being ruled by it. They can touch without grasping. And because of that, their presence starts to mean something. So if you remember one thing, remember this. The touch that changes attraction during a hug is the touch that carries composed intention, emotional control, and calibrated restraint. Not too much, not too little, not performed, not hungry, just strong enough to be felt, calm enough to be trusted, and disciplined enough to stop where the moment stops. That is the real difference, not the hand alone, the man behind the hand. Most men will never understand this because they are too busy searching for techniques instead of mastering themselves. They want hidden formulas, but the hidden truth is harsher than that. If your body is desperate, your touch will be desperate. If your mind is unstable, your contact will be unstable. If your need for validation is louder than your composure, she will feel that before you ever open your mouth. So the work is deeper than physicality, it is internal. Learn to slow down, learn to observe, learn to let moments speak before you try to control them. Learn to stay grounded in your own body. Learn the discipline of not taking more than the moment freely gives. That is how a man becomes perceptive. That is how he becomes respected. That is how attraction stops feeling random and starts making sense. Because the truth is simple, even if most men are too blind to live it. A hug does not change attraction because of some secret move. It changes attraction when your touch reveals a man who is calm under tension, aware beneath appearances, and strong enough to hold closeness without losing himself. That is what she feels. That is what most men cannot fake. And that is why composure is power. Gentlemen, if this opened your eyes, make sure you subscribe and comment composure below, not because words matter more than action, but because naming a truth helps you remember it. And once you start seeing these patterns, you stop moving through life like a blind man. You become sharper, quieter, harder to shake, harder to read, harder to replace, observe more, react less. That is where strength begins.